All right, guys, today we're going to go over slides 14 through 20, what you'll be doing on April 16th, be doing tomorrow. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this information. All right. What we went over last time was the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. So we're going to break up this cerebrum, this large brain, into those four lobes. All right. So you got your frontal lobe, your temporal lobe, your occipital lobe, that's on that posterior side, and then you've got your parietal lobe. So this is information that I need you to write down on your own paper. And what I highlighted in yellow is the most important part. So if all you do is write down the name of the lobe and what's in yellow, okay, that would be fantastic. So you kind of want to link to memory, all right? So the frontal lobe, like we said, is just directly behind the skull in the front of your body, so on that anterior side. But the biggest thing you can look here is your ability to reason, make judgments, organize information. It's your personality and higher level thinking. Now I want to think, worst case scenario, that your serial killer gets in a major car crash. And think about it, the part of your head, usually you get whiplash, you hit your frontal lobe, you come back here, hit your occipital lobe, you're down there to your cerebellum, and maybe back, so you get that whiplash effect. So think, if your frontal lobe is damaged, swelling, personality is going to be altered, changed. So you might have someone that might be more calm, just not quick to anger, and have that completely switch. They're angry, they're short-tempered, and that it could be directly linked to that frontal lobe getting damaged. You look here, their ability to reason, make judgments. So that's where you have the devil and the angel on your shoulder, right? Someone cuts you off in your car and you're instantly, that devil's, you're just rage. You want to flip them off. You want to like tailgate them. You want to cut them off. And you got the angel that's like, chill out, relax, let them move on. No big deal. So we kind of have this battle, and I hope the angel wins majority of the time or all the time. That calms you back down. But in this case, where it says ability to reason, make judgments is could be altered, then maybe that devil's going to take over and they're going to react before the angel comes in and kind of helps balance them out. All right. So frontal lobe damage, personality, higher level thinking. Okay. All right. Parietal lobe. So remember, your parietal lobe, it's on top. Okay. You got the two lobes, your right and left hemispheres. Biggest thing here is your integration of your senses. Right? What you see, touch, your pressure, what's going on there. Okay, visual attention. So parietal is your senses. All right, let's roll on to your occipital lobe, very back. Okay, controlling your vision. And then I also want to focus on your temporal lobe. Because once again, you think about getting in a car wreck, frontal lobe, temporal lobes. And you look at your temporal lobe as a lot of short-term memory, language interpretation. So that's the biggest thing there besides hearing. Okay? So linking those yellow bold keywords to what the lobe is, the lobe to its function, really, really important. All right, so those are your four lobes. Okay, let's go on to the brainstem. We talked about this at our last one. The brainstem is the highway center. It's where all of your nerves leaving the brain, telling your body what to do, your body interpreting and then sending the information back to your brain, allowing you to process, and then it replies back, and they just go back and forth and communicate up and down. So this brainstem, like it is the base of the brain, the nerve connection, the pathways. Okay, and it also helps control your sleep cycle. Remember that REM stage in your deep sleep, your breathing, your heart rate. Like we said, it is your life support. So let's talk about this breathing. This is where it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to hold your breath underwater. I mean, people, you're not going to find a body that went into the water alive, hold their breath, and not have their lungs fill up with fluid. You cannot hold your breath because your brain, in your brainstem, that portion, will force you to take a breath. And once that breath occurs, the liquid fills in, and then that's where you get your drowning victims. Okay. Now, what if you find a body that's been dumped in the water and there isn't a lot of fluid in the lungs? So what does that tell you? There's a really high possibility that they were killed outside and then dumped in. So then you don't have that fluid that's gone in because they died outside of the water. All right, so there's your brainstem, once again directly below your brain. All right, okay, there's another part I want you to write down besides your 4 lobes and what their job is to write down the function of your limbic system. Okay, it's going to be really, really important later on when we talk about some people's limbic system is not functioning at a high quality and what in the world that does. Okay, so if we look at this, your limbic system, it's responsible for the experience and the expression of emotions. Once again, you think about rage, you think about sexual desires, think about pleasure, joy. Now, if your limbic system is somehow damaged, maybe self-inflicted, drugs, alcohol, maybe a car wreck, violence, abuse, but maybe your limbic system just genetically isn't wired correctly. So when you think about this, your emotions are off the charts. They are not controlled very well. Your rage, sexual desires, all these things are just firing on all cylinders. And if your prefrontal cortex does not help control, and your prefrontal cortex, that's part of your frontal lobe, if it cannot help control that limbic system and get those insane emotions balanced and brought back down to safe levels, there's going to be a problem. So that limbic system could just take over. And this is where you see a lot of your serial killers that might lash out, meaning overkill. They did not need to stab their victim 100 times. Well, there's a good possibility that that rage, that emotions in their limbic system is just firing on all cylinders and they are not controlling it and not coming back down. Now, it's very possible for someone's limbic system to do that, and it's not a result of drugs or alcohol or violence or even genetic. It's just something that they have evolved and learned and thrived and enjoy that feeling. And so they just keep going. So there's all sorts of different variables of why somebody's limbic system could just be firing on all cylinders. Okay, so limbic system, that's this section right here. So let's just break this down. Here's your cerebrum. Okay, the pink looks like bubblegum. There's your cerebellum. There's your brainstem. And the inner portion of your brain, okay, and you've got, it's connecting the frontal, the parietal, the temporal, is your limbic system. All right. Okay, major organs of your nervous system, and that's where you get this spinal cord, right? And once again, it's a pathway of information. It's the biggest thing here that I have highlighted is it's the pathway. It's where it's connected. And here, as you can see, the 4 different sections of your lumbar, or of your vertebrae, from that cervical to thoracic to lumbar to sacrum, and then cute little coccyx, the tailbone that you don't need. All right, so the biggest thing to remember about your spinal cord is it is the pathway center. All right, we're going to talk about sensory and motor nerves, okay? And I think it should be pretty easy. Look at the picture. And here, sensory nerves, here's your skin. Your skin senses something, right? Your skin feels pressure. It feels heat. It feels pain. It feels touch. And it's going to send that signal all the way up to the brain, and the brain's going to process it. I mean, think about it. If your hand's in a hot flame, it feels it. It sends the message up to the brain. Your brain processes and thinks, holy crap, that's hot. We're going to move my hand. So then the nerve's going to leave the brain. So here we are. Now we have a motor nerve. The motor nerve does the action. The motor nerve is going to leave the brain, travel back down to the region of where it felt it, and it's going to initiate your muscles to react, which then moves your bones, which then pulls your hand out of the flame. And so you think about this, sensory nerves sense it, send the signal to the brain, process, motor nerves react, and take action. You think about like when you swallow, that sense, you've got the tissue that senses it, sends the signal up to the brain, tells your brain, oh, I got to initiate my muscles to push that food down, and then the muscles move and push it on down. All right, so there's your 2 nerves. We look at, once again, here's your cerebrum, cerebellum, brainstem, spinal cord, and then it's just showing you the different parts of the spinal cord in relation to your body. And so there's that cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum, coccyx. You do not need to memorize. I know you guys are in MAP. Oh, geez. Whatever those numbers are from your what is it? C8, T12, L9, whatever those numbers. You don't need to memorize it. I just need you to understand what role your spinal cord plays within the body. Okay, well, that sums it up. At this point, you are going to take a quiz. The quiz is going to cover the anatomy of your brain, okay, from the whole cerebrum, cerebellum, brainstem, the different lobes, what their job is, and what's the job of your limbic system, right? Don't use your notes, and you can take this quiz as many times as you'd like to use it to help review, repetition, and get a top score. All right, you guys, until later.